Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Through the Fire. I am your host, Ryan Wickline, and today we're joined by a very special guest. He is an author, Mr. DK Kang. How you doing today, DK?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. I love what you're talking about, mindset and everything. So anytime I have somebody on here talking mindset and how they went through a mindset shift, I love it. So I'm kind of excited to dive in with you.
Okay, sounds great. Great to be here.
The number one question the audience is probably wondering, who is DK Kang?
Oh, um, so for me, I'm a martial artist. I've been doing martial arts for about 34 years. I'm also a licensed massage therapist that helps with athletic performance and athletic recovery, as well as stress management and pain management. I also do Spartan races. I'm also an author of two books, Mindset Metamorphosis and the Kimchi Connection Cookbook. And so I wrote Mindset Metamorphosis during a really challenging time in my life. It was my wife got diagnosed with breast cancer at the end of it was December of 2023, and that's when she got diagnosed. And then, well, technically, it was like January when they did the biopsy. And so there was a point where in February of 2024, at this point, I'm reading this book called The Breast Cancer Husband. And it says to let your employer know that, hey, for the husband to be at your wife's side and let your employer know, like, hey, what's going on with life. And so I told them, hey, my wife has breast cancer and I would like a flexible work schedule. And then they said, yeah, sure, that's fine. And then a week after that, after exactly a week after I told them, they decided to lay me off. And so there was a point where I'm like, both of us don't have jobs. And what do I do with my time? So I was journaling, and there was a point where I'm like, okay, well, there's got to be other people that's dealing with feeling stressed and overwhelmed and just feeling stuck. When you get a news with breast cancer or any type of cancer, it really rocks your world. And so I'm like, well, I got a bunch of time. Well, I'm going to start writing a book because it was a way for myself to help myself kind of get through that challenging time. At the same time, I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure there's other people out there that are going through life challenges. So for me, I just was like, I just want to help people through my struggles, and I'm sure other people are going through some other things. And so that's a little bit about me. I grew up in Missouri. I moved to Texas about 2016. My parents owned a restaurant. It was like a Chinese Korean fusion restaurant. And so for me, growing up in a Korean house, I ate kimchi a lot and I absolutely loved it. And so when I moved to Texas, I bought store bought kimchi and it just didn't taste good. And when you put food in like plastic containers, the food actually absorbs some of the plastics. And so you start getting microplastics into your bloodstream. And so, as I'm making kimchi, I would bring it to work. And then people would ask me, like my coworkers were like, hey, what is that? And, I'll just give it to them. Then they're like, oh, can I buy some? And I'm like, I'm not really selling it, but, yeah, here, here's a jar. And then the question kept coming, what do I do with kimchi? And I'm like, oh, you just start putting it into different dishes and put it into like your salads, your tacos, your pizza, whatever it is. And there's so many benefits to kimchi that I just wanted people to know and understand, but also to integrate it with their own dishes and get the probiotic benefits. And so that's how my kimchi book kind of came about. So that's a little bit about me.
What is like kimchi as a dish?
So kimchi is a side dish. It's a Korean traditional fermented food. It could be from Napa cabbage. It could be radishes, cucumbers. I mean, it's just any type of vegetable, and you basically put it in a salt, brine it, wash it off, and throw a bunch of different spices and herbs. Like you can do like garlic, ginger, Korean red peppers, some salt, some sugar, black pepper. Some people put turmeric in it, and then you let it ferment over the counter, and that's kind of how it builds the probiotics.
What kind of health benefits does it kind of have?
So because it's fermented, there's probiotics that are, you think of like fermented is like yogurt, right? We all know like benefits of yogurt, but with kimchi, I mean, there's a bunch of minerals and vitamins like vitamin K, and you get fiber from the vegetable. But you think about like yogurt. For a lot of people, it's like they're lactose intolerant. So kimchi actually has about like, depending on how long it's been fermenting, it can go up to like 1 billion to 100 billion CFUs, which is the colony forming units. So if you look at like those, the capsules that you buy for like probiotics, it's all manufactured. They're usually like, what is it? Like 1 billion to like, I don't know, 50 billion CFUs. And so, but you're actually getting a whole food with kimchi because you get the fiber, but then, there's a bunch of minerals and vitamins just with vegetables. And so you're getting that. And so with probiotics, about 70% of your immune system sits in your gut. Probiotics helps with regulating your gut, regulating digestion. And there's a big gut to brain health connection. If you have a terrible gut, they talk about brain fog, right? And we live in a society called the standard American diet, which is, it spells SAD, right? And that's the fast foods, that's the processed foods, that's the sugary drinks, and our bodies aren't meant to process that. And so they have something called a leaky gut. And with fermented foods, sauerkraut is another one, miso, they help kind of seal that leaky gut to help better digestion. And with, having that connection of the gut and brain, if you have a terrible gut, you have brain fog, you're sluggish, you just don't feel good. So, so I mean, if people who don't know about kimchi, it is a superfood. I'm just trying to spread my culture and let people know more about kimchi.
That's awesome. You gave us a lot to unpack there in the beginning on your but it's okay. Let me go back here to the beginning. What started you into martial arts?
Oh man. So I started when I was 5. I think it was a way for my parents to say, because I think it was like I started in the summer when I was 5, and I don't think they wanted me and my brother to hang out at the restaurant all day because they had to watch us. So they pretty much signed us up for it was Taekwondo, and I think it was just for them to get us out of the house and not so they didn't have to watch us at home because they're running a business and they didn't want us at the restaurant disturbing customers and disturbing their work. So I think it was for them is just really to get us out of the house and get active and do something besides just twiddling our thumbs at the restaurant for 12 hours.
Do you still practice today then?
Yeah, I still do. I've been doing it for 34 years. I got my first degree black belt at age 7. I ended up failing the test, but I had 2 weeks to make it up. And for 2 weeks, I was training like 4 or 5 hours a day, and because it's very embarrassing when you fail at something publicly like that, especially something like a big event like a black belt test. And I spent a lot of time just training, and because my parents, they're Korean, they're like, we spent a lot of money, you better get your black belt. There was no like, oh, you did your best. It's like, no, you didn't do your best. You better get your black belt. So I was like, oh, okay, like, it's on. So yeah.
Well, that's awesome that they would push you in the right direction though, and push you to be better.
Yeah.
Through failure.
Yeah.
How important has developing a strong mindset played in an important role in your life?
Oh man. Yeah, mindset it's so important because everything starts in the mind. Give you an example. In 2023, I did a Spartan 50K Ultra. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Spartan race.
Yeah, that's where they do all the obstacle courses and everything in the
Yeah.
middle of the runs too, right?
Yeah. So yeah, Spartan race. It's rough terrain. It's going up mountains, going down mountains. 30 obstacles. And if you're doing like the 50K, it's actually 60. You do a 25K loop with 30 obstacles, then you go back out and do the same route, 25K, 30 obstacles. So when I'm doing this, everything that went wrong went wrong. Um, a tracker got caught on one of the obstacles, and I already ran like half a mile down, and I noticed, oh, my tracker is not on my hand. So I had to run back a half a mile to go pick it up. I lost my gloves. I ended up tearing like my hand, like the calluses on my hands. I got rope burn. I dropped a boulder on my toe. I had a nosebleed. I ate way too many Cliff Bars. When you're training for something, like I didn't train in, so as I'm training, I'm like just feeling myself. But then last minute, I watched this YouTube video. Guy said, you got to eat like 150 calories to 200 calories every hour. And then so I was like, what has 150 calories to 200 calories that I could take with me? And I was like, oh, a Cliff Bar. And so, I didn't train eating every hour. And so as I'm doing this race, I'm just eating Cliff Bars like every 45 minutes to an hour. And man, I'm telling you, it was so much fiber. I just had like really bad digestive issues, and it messed me up. Like, but at the same time, as I'm doing this 50K, on my second loop, I'm passing other people that are doing the ultra with me, and they're saying out loud, "This race is too hard. I'm never gonna finish. Where's the finish line? This sucks. This is too hard." But in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm not going to listen to them. I'm going to keep going. Like for me, I'm like, I can and I will finish this race in spite of all the things that's going on with me. Like my toes like bruised, my hands are bleeding. And for me, I'm just like, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. And I will finish this race. And, at the beginning of the race, the announcer's like, there's about 600 of you guys in this 50K ultra right now. It's about a 50% fail rate. So, that kind of gives you a reality check. And those people that says, oh, this is too hard, or I'm never going to finish, where's the finish line? They didn't finish because they've already said it in their mind, this is too hard. And it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, But for me, I didn't want to listen to them. And I was like, I just got to keep going. I got to keep going. And so, yeah, mindset is huge. I mean, with martial arts, there's parallels with martial arts in life. When you're sparring, when you're going against someone and kicks and punches are flying at you, at your face, at your body, it's how do you respond? In life, there's going to be obstacles. There's going to be unexpected punches or unexpected kicks to you. Is how do you respond? And most people want the easy way out is I just want to quit, or I want something that's comfortable and the easy way out. But how do you respond and how do you go through it? Because you can easily run away from a kick. But for me, okay, I'm going to tackle this challenge. This guy's way faster than me. I'm going to counter it, or I'm going to use my abilities to counter that kick or punch. It's the same thing with life. And so, yeah, mindset is so big. And, I talk about in my book, just practicals, some things like having a morning routine. I talk about sleep hygiene. I talk about, like shut down like all your electronic devices an hour before you go to sleep. I talk about meditation, and journaling. I talk about having just gratitude, just thinking about like my wife's cancer journey, and so like faith, for me, faith is a big part of my life. And I talk about in my book, reframing. And one thing, when I got laid off from my job after, a week telling my employer that, I came home that night, my wife and I, we prayed, but instead of asking the question, why is this happening to us, God? Why does my wife have cancer? Why did I lose my job? I didn't ask those questions. I reframed it to, all right, God, why not us? And also asking the question, who can I help down the line? Yeah, this is terrible in the moment. Yeah, this sucks. It really is. But I just had to reframe it. And for me, a scripture kind of comes into my mind. It's in it says it's in Philippians 4. It says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." And so, yeah, I mean, I couldn't be anxious about life situation. I had to really rely on our faith and really trust in that.
Yeah. I like how you talked about reframing everything, because you can kind of see it go back to even the Spartan race, where your competitors, the way they were talking, and you didn't allow that negative talking to bring you down, when some of your other competitors might have let the other negative talkers be like, okay, well, I can't do this either,
Yeah. Yeah.
What got you into doing Spartan races?
Oh man. So I have one of my best friends. He did a lot of Tough Mudders, and he's one of my friends that actually I actually trained him in martial arts, and so he was really into Tough Mudders, and he's just talking to me one day, and he's like, "Dude, let's do a Spartan race." And so I'm like, shouldn't I do a Tough Mudder first? And he's like, no, let's just go something harder. And so our first Spartan race, my first Spartan race, was the 21K Beast, which is 21K with 25 obstacles. Yeah, I mean, my buddy, he's like, dude, don't worry about like the little stuff. I mean, I've done Tough Mudders too, but he's just like, I know you can do this. And I think it was a motivation for him saying to push himself like to that 21K and to have like a partner go with him, do it with him, And so, yeah, that kind of sparked it. And then ever since then, like, I just love doing Spartan races. I've done 10 so far. So
That's funny. You definitely did. You jumped head in first. You didn't like do any of the easier ones to kind of work your way up to it. You just dove head in first.
Yeah. Yeah.
You went through infertility, caregiving, job loss, and cancer all within a few years. How are you able to keep going and not break?
Oh man, that's a good question. I think it goes back to martial arts. Martial arts, there's so many life skills that you learn. It's character development that you learn, respect. Like I said before, when those kicks and punches come at you, it's how do you respond? And like in the school that I took, there's this oath that we take, and one of them is it's like you're always wanting to be eager to learn and grow, and to not give up. And so that's like life. There's all these ups and downs. I mean, the Bible talks about in this world you'll have trouble, and Jesus says, but take heart that I've overcome the world. And so we don't know what kind of trouble that is. But for me, I think giving up is like the easy way out. It's just a cop out. And so, it goes back to martial arts. Just sometimes when you're getting beat up by someone that's better than you, like here's an example. When I was 13, I mean, at this point, I was already a black belt. I'm sparring this 30-something-year-old secondary black belt. He's like 6'2", 200 pounds, solid muscle. And, as we start, I get 3 or 4 hits in, and then I could see the frustration in this man's eyes. And then I go up because I'm 13. I'm a lot shorter than this guy. I go up because I see an opening. I go for a jump kick to kick his head, And then as I'm jumping up, he punches me as hard as he could right in my face, knocks me out. And, it's like life will knock us down. Like for me, Jackie Chan is one of my favorite people in the world. I absolutely love him. He talks about, what is it? There's a quote. He says, in life, you'll get knocked down, but if we have the choice to stand up or not. And life will knock us down, whether if it's infertility, whether it's cancer, job loss, you name it, whatever it is, life's going to knock us down. But for me, I always choose to get back up because it's easier to stay on the ground and just quit. And for me, I'm just not a quitter, and so for me, I just like keep going. It's not the end of my journey just yet. And for me, it just, yeah, I want to also help people because I know people are going through some tough times, whether it be some health challenges or job loss, things like that. So,
Yeah, that's a good way to give back too. What core transformation do you hope your readers get from Mindset Metamorphosis?
Core transformation, to really take ownership of their life, because for us, I mean, when we hear the word cancer and job loss, we could have easily been in that victim mindset of, oh, the world is against us and everybody hates us, and but we took ownership. We dug deep into cancer. We read this book called Chris Beat Cancer, and I don't know if you're familiar with Chris work.
No.
Chris Work was a little backstory on him. He was like this 25, 26-year-old guy. He's having some sort of abdominal pain, goes to the ER, gets checked out. Doctor comes back and says, oh, you have stage 3 colon cancer and you have 6 months to live. And so they're like, you need to do surgery, you need to do chemotherapy, you need to do radiation, and you might have a chance to live. I mean, this guy's young, 26 years old, 25, whatever he was. And so he goes back and dives deep into cancer, does research, and then he reading all these books about nutrition and that whole food, plant-based diet. And so he actually got his surgery, but he didn't do the chemo or radiation. He completely changed his life around and he reversed cancer by a whole food, plant-based diet. And so we asked the question, instead of how, we asked who has done this, who has lived through it, and what have they done? So we're reading Chris Beat Cancer. This is what he did. I'm like, okay, let's do what he did, because it's not the how, it's the who. And so, having he was almost like a mentor to us through his book. And so, yeah, I mean, we went completely plant-based after reading his book, and then we read other books about it, about cancer, about nutrition. Another one is Beating Cancer with Nutrition. And so all these books are talking about how nutrition plays a role. Cancer, as we're doing research, cancer is not a genetic disease these days. It's maybe 5%. The 95% of all cancers nowadays, and it's like 1 in 4 people will have cancer. It's lifestyle. It's the foods you eat. It's your environment. It's your stress. It's the chemicals around us. And, it's very eye-opening for us. And, we think about, so at this time, like, we're reading this book, but we also, I lost my job and my wife got one chemo treatment. For one chemotherapy treatment was $80,000 with no insurance. My wife had to get 12 treatments of chemotherapy, plus target drugs, plus surgery, plus radiation, plus surveillance. And, if we didn't have insurance, I mean, it would be over $1 million just for an entire year of treatment. And so for me, I'm really on a mission and commitment to tell people, like, hey, you can prevent these diseases. You can prevent cancer. You can prevent autoimmune diseases. You can prevent dementia. just by changing your diet, your lifestyle. We watched a documentary called The Game Changers. It's about a whole food plant-based diet and how it affects athletic performance. Another one is Live to 100. It's people living to 100 consistently without any diseases, and it's their diet. And so that's also kind of my kimchi book as well. So yeah, it's a big thing. And honestly, I don't even remember what your question was anymore.
I just talked about the core transformation you hope your readers got.
Oh yeah. So yes, but also it's just starting small, and to take ownership of their life. Yeah, that's where I was going, was taking ownership of their life. Yeah.
Great advice. Did writing the book bring any healing and clarity?
Yeah, writing a book. Yeah, it's very therapeutic. For me, it started out as a journal, but like I said, it kind of transformed into a book that I wanted to. It was more so to help me, but then I'm like, all right, I think this is useful information that will help somebody else out. So yeah, it was very therapeutic. It was very helpful for me, and it definitely helped me get me through some of that tough times. So yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. How were you able to trust while you were going through the fire of everything going on at once? And you just had that trust and faith in God that He was going to lead you through it.
Yeah, so for me, like, part of my morning routine is, I read the Bible, and there's a lot of times where I just got to go back and read some stories. Reading the book of Job. I don't know if you know the story of Job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it gives me perspective of, hey, this person who's written about went through some terrible things. Then I look at Jesus's life. I'm like, Jesus died a terrible death. He suffered. It's very horrific. And I'm like, man, I'm not going through that. And so for me, it gives me a perspective of, yeah, there's someone out there that has it worse than me. God pulled them through, and who am I to complain? And trusting God is all throughout the Bible. Love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and body, and love your neighbor, love yourself. And so for me, I'm just like, I just got to be in God's word. Honestly, I just got to be in the Bible, and that's something that helped me through it. And yeah, looking around, I'm like, just talking to some people, they're like, yeah, my wife's one of her medical assistants. We didn't know this at the time, but as we were kind of seeing her more consistently, like every week, she was just saying, like, whatever you guys are doing, you guys really strengthened me. And she was just talking, and she's like, I've got this like rare tumor on my spine that always hurts, that I can't get it removed. And I'm just like, wow, like, people are going through some major stuff. And yeah, it just really helps me to understand people, but also just like push through that, man, I don't have it as bad as some people. Yeah, our situation's pretty bad, but this too shall pass as well. So
Yeah.
So yeah.
Man, that's awesome, because I know when I go through my fires, I usually have to be in prayer constantly. I found that helps me more than the Bible a lot.
Yeah.
It's just constant prayer.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's something that my wife and I do. Ever since we've been married, we've prayed every single night. Maybe we've been married for 17 years now. Maybe missed 4 or 5 times in that 17 years. But for us, yeah, we got to just pray. That's huge. So yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, that's probably helps your marriage a lot too, doesn't it? Constant prayer together.
Absolutely, yeah.
Said
Definitely.
Right there, people can say, "Hey, why isn't our relationships working?" Well, right there's one core foundation you're missing, right there.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
Fear of failure and suffering is prevalent today. How important is that process to your success?
You can't, for me, I can't be afraid to fail. That's when you learn. Like I said, I failed my black belt test the first time around. There's other times I failed as well. My instructor once told me, and this is, when I was really young, at this time, I'm already a black belt. My instructor says, every time you walk in that door, you are a white belt. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, can't you see I'm a black belt? Like, but it's that mind shift change is, hey, I don't have all the answers. Yeah, I'm a black belt, but I don't have all the answers. And that humility of wanting to continue to learn. And learning is through failure. If you look at Rome wasn't built in a day. The world wasn't built in a day. I mean, come on, we're human. We are imperfect beings. We're gonna fail at something. When you're learning how to play the drums, that's a lot going on. You're gonna be terrible, but as you continue to do it, you get better at it and better and better. I mean, I didn't just wake up one day and run a 50K. I mean, I was training all my life. When I was 12, I was running like 3 to 9 miles a day. I like I said, my parents owned a restaurant. I did an experiment on myself where it was because my parents owned a restaurant. I drank a lot of soda because it's always available. The one day I'm like, all right, I'm gonna see how that affects my body. So I drank soda, ran 3 miles. I felt terrible. I felt sluggish. I felt thirsty. But that's part of the failure part, right? But then I came back the next day. I'm like, all right, let me try not drinking any soda and see how my body responds. Okay. I ran the same 3 miles at the same time without drinking soda. I drank water this time and I felt much better. I felt a clarity, mental clarity. And I was like, let's go run another 3 miles. I felt energetic. And so, but I had to fail the first time around with drinking soda and see how that would affect my body. But then, you won't see the success until you start failing, because that's when you learn. That's when you grow.
Yeah. What tips can you give us about facing fear?
Ooh, tips about facing fear. Start small. Don't try to take on the world. Don't try to say, I'm going to lose 100 pounds. Well, let's dial it back saying, hey, let's kind of lose 5 pounds first and go from there and build upon that. Because sometimes that facing that fear, sometimes it can be daunting because we only see like this big picture instead of taking like little steps at a time. And so, like losing 100 pounds, that's daunting, right? So a lot of people just don't want to even try. And they're just like, well, I'm gonna fail anyway. I'm not even gonna try. But let's break it down to smaller steps and grow from there.
Yeah, I love it. Great advice. How could someone work to develop grit, resilience, and mental toughness daily?
Get uncomfortable. A Spartan 50K is not comfortable. uh, doing martial arts is not comfortable. Someone punching your face, someone kicking at your face is not comfortable. For sometimes it might be reading a book. Like for me, I struggled reading because I was a slow reader, but I got out of my comfort zone and I'm like, all right, I need to read and build my vocabulary, build my intellect, and learn from somebody that's been there. You know, so many of us want comfort. We have the AC, we have the heater. When it's cold out, sometimes you got to go through the fire. Going through fire is not it's not comfortable, but that's where you learn. That's where you grow, and that's how you become your best self. Um, Everything is not comfortable. I mean, life's not comfortable, and so yeah, just get uncomfortable in some form or fashion, whether it be mentally, physically, or spiritually.
That's great advice right there. How much do you think people just wanting to stay in their comfort zone is stopping them from accomplishing their goals?
Oh, it's a big factor. You look at look at the United States. We are the richest country in the world, and yet we're the most obese country. We are the most fast food country, the most sugary drinks. I mean, that's all comfortable, right? But changing your diet, eating your fruits and vegetables, waking up, meal prepping, that's uncomfortable because you're like, oh, I could watch TV. I could go do something else. Doing push-ups, going for a workout, that's it's uncomfortable. It I think it stops a lot of people because comfort feels good. And if you look at Jesus's life, he was in a lot of uncomfortable situations. And for me, I'm just trying to follow Christ, and if he was uncomfortable, I'm like, okay, I guess I need to be uncomfortable too. Um, so yeah, I think it stops a lot of people.
Yeah, that's someone good to follow. If you're going to follow somebody, follow
Yeah.
Jesus. How important is having dreams, goals, and purpose for someone's mental health?
Yeah, to have those dreams and purpose, and goals, it gives meaning to your life. Like, what's the point of, like, you're just here on earth to go to school, go to work, get a house, build a family, and die? What's the point in that? Like, have goals. There was this I watched this interview with Denzel Washington, and he says, when you're young, it's time to learn. And then when you get a little bit older, it's time to earn. But then when you're in your later years, he says it's time to return, meaning give back to people, give back to communities, give back to, share your wisdom. And, you know, we're here on this earth that we're not made to be here alone. Maybe your goals and your purpose is to help somebody else out in the world. And for me, I think all the stuff that my wife has and I have been through, I mean, what are we going to do with it? And like I said, when I came home that night when I got laid off, is who can we help? So yeah, I mean, that's a big part. It's great having goals and dreams, but purpose speaks so much more volume than anything else. People can reach their goals, no problem, but what benefit is it doing for other people? And
Yeah.
so I think that's where the purpose comes in. For me, my purpose is I want to tell people about cancer and how you can fight it, and start shifting your own mind and take ownership of your life, and not be in that victimhood mindset, and to really take action of your life, whatever it may be, whether it be your goals, purpose, or something even bigger. So, yeah.
Yeah. How would you suggest someone go about finding their purpose?
Um, dig deep, dig deep into, um, for me, I mean, I dug deep into God's word. I dug deep into books and figuring out what I wanted to do. Um, you know, it's not something you just find. I mean, I had to pray about it. I had to journal about it. So those are good ways. I mean, if you're not like a spiritual person or read the Bible or something, I mean, find a mentor. Mentors are great. They can kind of guide you and, like, hey, these are your strengths. This is kind of what you can provide for people or even yourself. And so, yeah, and finding that mentor, but having a community as well. Community is big. My wife and I, we go to church, and um, there's times where we're like, we don't know how we're going to pay for rent, but the community, our church community, just really rallied around us, and here's rent for the next month, and we're like, oh wow, like, thank you. And so yeah, I mean, finding that purpose, find a mentor, be around a community, and never stop learning about yourself and about what things in books.
Yeah, I think more people need to start reading, and because there's so much information at your fingertips. I mean, you can go learn anything and become anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where would someone start after life just hit and derailed them?
I mean, for me, I started with being in God's word, being in the Bible, and with prayer. I mean, like I said about that scripture earlier in Philippians, do not be anxious. I mean, I've been derailed in so many ways. Going back to my wife's, for us, infertility. I mean, it was about 10-year process. We went to multiple doctors, couldn't figure out, they couldn't figure out what was going on. They finally had to do surgery on her, and they found out she had endometriosis. And I don't know if you're familiar with endometriosis, but
No.
it, so basically, like I don't want to go too much in detail with it. The uterus, the inner wall lining actually forms on the outer wall of the uterus, and it's a lot of bleeding. It's very painful. My wife was very anemic at the time because it was just constant. It was like basically to best way to explain it is she had her period pretty much every single day for like 10 years straight. That's pretty much what it was. That's what it is in a nutshell. And so, seeing doctors, things like that. She ended up getting a total hysterectomy. I go pretty deep dive in another podcast about her infertility on that. But, like for us, it was a setback, but also we had to let that dream die of having children. And so, yeah, we had to move forward. We couldn't just be stuck there. And because, I mean, nobody knew what was going on. And what we know now with nutrition that we probably could have reversed her endometriosis. But it's sorry, I forgot your question now.
All about just where to start after life hits and derails them.
Yeah. So yeah, like when life derails you, start somewhere small, get help from people, seek advice. For us, we had to start over. We were like, well, we let this dream die, and we had to go and seek like people that were going through these same things. And so we're like, okay, like our church never had anybody go through that. So we had to get some outside like therapy. And so, I mean, therapy is great. Talking about it, seeing people. I mean, for you got to start somewhere. You can't just be stagnant and you're never going to move forward then. It's like the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step, right?
Yeah.
Take that first step, whatever it is, to get help, talk about it, really be, in your emotions. I mean, it was a trying time for us. It was very emotional because all our friends were getting pregnant and having children, and it was like, oh, why can't we have children? And of course, so we had to go back and just like, all right, well, this is not our path. Let's pivot and let's do what we need to do, and that's to get help and to move forward in that process. So,
yeah. How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, so people can go to my website, dkkang.com, and if they sign up for my newsletter, I have a weekly newsletter that I send out. If you sign up for that, I'm actually giving away my Mindset Metamorphosis for the first chapter as a free download if you sign up for my newsletter. And then you can email me. I usually respond in about 2 to 3 days, and that's dk@dkkang.com. I'm kind of on social media, but not really. I mean, you can friend me there and invite me and things like that or whatever. But if you're trying to start a conversation with me, it's usually through email. That's the best way. So.
Okay. Awesome. I'll put all that in the show notes too. Is there anything we haven't covered that you want to talk about?
Oh man. So I want to actually ask you a question. So what's your through the fire?
So I'm a former drug addict and alcoholic.
Okay.
and God saved me from myself. And I went through a complete transformation, and it wasn't just through faith and everything. So when it all happened, I was getting clean and sober, and my best friend found out he had stage 4 brain cancer, had less than 6 months to live. Me and my girlfriend at the time broke up. She broke my heart, and I relapsed. I was working around 5 months clean, was going good. Started going back to church, everything. Well, that relapse happened. A lot of people gave up on me. And it was just and it was like a month or too long relapse where I was contemplating suicide because I didn't think I was ever going to be able to beat it. And it was just them demons in my head taunting me a lot. So one day, story short, sitting around a campfire at one of my friend's house, drinking, doing drugs. God spoke to my soul and said, "What are you doing here? You tell me you want to do this. Tell me you want to help kids. Are you a good role model now?" So that day was the last day I ever touched anything.
Wow.
That was about 6 years ago.
Okay.
So,
wow.
And from there, I started helping kids with mindset training, and I coached wrestling and helped kids, helping them become better people, helping them transform their lives.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome. Give grace to yourself. We're only human. We make mistakes, and you have an amazing, powerful story. And I'm glad that I got to hear it. So.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on here.
Yeah.
Final question.
Much. Yeah.
Hey, not a problem. Final question. What is one piece of advice you'd like to leave our listeners with about overcoming adversity?
Life's going to be challenging, but don't give up. Start small and just continue to move forward and get back up.
Great advice. DK, I can't thank you enough for coming on here and sharing your wisdom with us. You have such an inspiring story.
Oh, well, thank you. You do too. So.
Well, guys, that's going to be all the time we have here today. Remember, the only way to get what you want is go through the fire.